upset sometime.
Yeah, they do that sometimes.
Miranda's favorite song.
It's summer in Texas.
Yeah, it's just mine and my husband's song.
Small world.
Hello everyone and welcome to Geek Academy channel. I'm your detective host Igor, and today we are going to be analyzing season 3 episode 3 From. And after this episode I have only one conclusion. Somewhere in the world right now there is one very happy Terran Matero, and for the rest of us we all feel like Tabitha in episode 21.
I feel like my mind is breaking.
But as I told you many times, the biggest fun for me personally of this show is analyzing, finding something, is the process basically, not just looking for the answers and hoping to get them as soon as possible, but actually, processing all of the pieces of information that we get, building all the theories, talking to you guys, and basically being part of this amazing community called FROMMGM. But before we begin, as usual, I want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon, and we have a new supporter, Champion Catherine. Catherine joined the community, and thank you so much for supporting this channel. I appreciate this very much, and I will do whatever I can to never disappoint. Now, let's dive in. Now, in the previous episode we have 3 storylines, and in this one we have 6. We have here Boyd's story, we have Jim and his family, we have Victor and Sarah, we have the whole company of campers going to the woods with Kenny, Jade and Christie and the rest of them, and also we have Fatima and her pregnancy, and of course the biggest one is Tabitha in the outside world, or is she really there? Anyway, as usual, we're gonna start with the smaller storylines and progress to the more interesting ones. So let's start with Jim. So we pick up exactly where we left in the previous episode, and Jim is talking to somebody impersonating his son. Obviously it's not really Thomas, especially because this Thomas kind of acts like a dick, and you could argue that basically, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree and Jim is not exactly an angel, but still, it's probably not exactly Thomas. And when he says to him like, you shouldn't let them play outside so close to the dark, basically it sounds like a warning, and it really reminded me this moment we have seen already in episode 10 season 1, when there was somebody way older talking to Jim and telling him like, you shouldn't let your wife dig up that big hole in the middle of your house. That, as you remember, ended up with Tabitha falling to the ground and actually reaching the caves with the monsters and Victor saving her, but it was pretty close call. So it kind of feels like maybe somebody is training Jim. I'm gonna explain to you what exactly do I mean. It's because like after this conversation, obviously Jim runs towards his kids because he's scared. The last time he got this kind of warning, it ended up pretty badly, so he was worried that something happened to his kids, and he's kind of losing it. He's very angry, he doesn't want to give them like another 5 minutes before the dawn. He just, come on everybody, let's go back to the house because it's getting dark soon. Even Boyd was kind of worried, even though he knows already that Jim has a couple of loose screws there. Still, even Boyd was like, yeah, you should probably chill a little bit. Now, this is like where the conversation, we've seen it on the trailer, when Jim tells Boyd it's gonna get pretty worse here. Now, once again, what is happening with people in this town? Why they're not talking to each other? Like, tell Boyd, look, dude, something weird just happened right now. I just got a call from my dad's son. His name is Thomas, by the way, and he told me I shouldn't let my kids to play outside in the dark. Do you know what the fuck is going on? Like, nobody is talking to anybody, and they somehow want to solve this place. You're not gonna be able to do it for another 20 seasons if you're not gonna start talk to each other. Now, when I talk to you about, like training Jim, it kind of feels like, basic psychology, like Pavlov's dogs, the positive reinforcements, negative reinforcement, positive punishment and negative punishment. Now, small course in case you forgot it. Like the reinforcements is basically to improve your behavior, to make it happen more. Like for example, you want your kids to do more homework, so you give them positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement. Or if you want to like stop some kind of a behavior, you basically use punishment, like positive punishment, negative punishment. For example, like a car seat belt, or when you don't put your belt, the car is gonna beep the shit out of you until you're like, okay, I'm putting the belt. Okay, so this is how it works, and kind of feels like somebody training Jim to do something here. Like the next time he's gonna get this warning and a set of rules what to do, he may start shooting people left and right. Because this place is probably not preparing him to become a Marvel hero. It probably wants him to do something really fucked up. So we are looking after Jim. Something is weird happening with him. Obviously this place really want to break him or do something with him or make him do something. Like when you repeat the same punishment or reinforcement behavior, you want to basically reach some kind of a point in behavior of your Pavlov's dogs, which is Jim right now. Anyway, we're moving forward to the conversation ahead, like the happy family, happy dad is like basically making some food for Ethan, and he's like, yeah, we're happy family, and so we're gonna have some good food together. And it kind of doesn't work because Ethan is going through some crazy shit too. He's like, what about my mom? Maybe she's laying out there with some bugs and spiders. And spiders again, why did he have to mention spiders? He knows. He absolutely knows that we are crazy fans of this show. We'll obviously notice this. If you're talking about spiders, we're definitely gonna notice it because we've seen spiders already being mystical creatures in this place. They have some abilities. The ones who beat Boyd, and after that Boyd was having some changes in his body, in his reaction to the Parkinson disease, or maybe something else, I don't know. The spiders, in my theory, they once again some kind of a defense mechanism, and they're basically keeping some of the evil spirits from breaking outside. This is just my idea, but once again, it's not really based on like hard facts, it's more of a feeling and instinct. And Jim once again loses it because, yeah, he just lost his wife, his dead son is calling him, and then his alive son is basically, what if our worms are eating our mom right now? Yeah, let's talk about it. I kind of blame the guy in this situation. He should have behaved better, but I also kind of understand why he broke here, like why he lost his shit on Ethan and lost his school. Most of the people probably would in this situation. And anyway, we have another call, another phone call. Now this time Jim doesn't answer, but what is interesting for me here in this situation, that Julie and Ethan just left like a couple of seconds ago. There's no way in hell they weren't able to hear this phone call. So it means that the only one hearing it is Jim. So obviously not a real call, we know that already, but now we also know that it only exists in Jim's brain. This is phone call only for him and nobody else can hear it. So we finished with Jim. As I told you, this was a very short storyline in this episode. We have another one, and this is Victor, and another, just like Boyd, this is gonna be just a setup for the next episode. Victor here is digging a hole.
Check this baby out, dug me a hole.
Yeah, I know, From and Friends crossover just keeps going. So yeah, like he checks his map, we can see that he hit something next to the tree. This is what he was counting, like we remember it even from the season 1 when he was just getting to know Ethan. He was using the same notes and he was drawing and counting steps. So is it something he buried already in our timeline, in our storyline that started in season 1, or is it something that was buried a while ago? We still don't know, but hopefully we will discover it in the next episode. So he's murmuring. Thank you so much for the subtitles. Now I know what the hell is murmuring. And he comes to Sarah's house, and Sarah is fixing the broken toy that Nathan created for her, made for her. And the whole like broken pieces, broken glass theme kind of repeats itself already many times. We're gonna talk about it a little bit more when we're gonna reach Tabitha's storyline. Meanwhile, we can see that Sarah opens the door and we can see something that looks like a power symbol on the vase. I know it feels really far-fetched and like, I don't know how to explain this, but it does look like a power symbol. The one that we have on remotes, like on computers and so on. So I tried to Google if there are some ancient symbols that resemble it, but no. It looks a lot like a power symbol, basically 1, you know, on and 0 off. So 1, oh, I don't know if you have some kind of an idea how it can be somehow related to what we are actually discussing. Probably not, but once again, I notice, I share. So yeah, Victor is once again here feeding the theory that he's a vamp. He's like, yeah, what's up? Not even asking if he can come in until Sarah invites him to come in, so he comes in. But once again, I talked about it before, Victor is not a vamp, he's not a vampire. He was able to enter houses without being invited many times. So it's just him being, you know, like being Victor is kind of weird. You know, he is a kid in grown-up's body and still he has a lot of like weird behaviors that may be not understandable for us. So yeah, we can see that they're talking about broken toy and Victor is basically, yeah, we should build the fort and I have a story to tell. So this is a setup, as I told you, we've seen it already in the trailer. So Victor is gonna build the fort and he's gonna tell a story, but why Sarah? Why did he choose her? Like right now I have no clue, no idea. They're not really close. Maybe Victor knows something because Sarah is obviously one of the most sensitive people to this place. We've seen her hearing voices, we've seen her like having tantrums and blood from her nose and being able to hear the music box when Boyd and Kenny weren't able to do so. She's one of the most sensitive, if not the most sensitive person to this place from the cast that we have right now in FROMMGM. So maybe this was why Victor chose her. Anyway, we move into the third storyline, Boyd's plan. Once again, another setup. This is just something that the payoff is probably gonna be in the next episode, because we know episode 4 is gonna be pretty big, obviously. And we know that Boyd's having a plan. He wants to trap one of the monsters. He doesn't know how exactly to do it, but he thinks that if you're gonna put a talisman on the outside of the door, the monsters wouldn't be able to escape. So if you like put it in the inside, they cannot come in, but if you like put one of them inside of the house and then you put the talisman on the outside, they're not gonna be able to escape, and then what you're gonna do? You're gonna enter and be ripped apart. Also, if we remember the Colony House massacre from season 1, when Fatima saved Alice, they kind of created like a small house from closed doors. They put the talisman there and they really hoped it's gonna work, but still it didn't lock the monsters. Or all of the monsters somehow escaped through the window. I don't know if it exactly works. For me, it doesn't really. Anyway, also Father Cutry is gonna tell Boyd that this is not a very good plan, and this is why probably Boyd is gonna switch with Randall there. Anyway, we can see like Alice is here and obviously Donna is there. She's like she's there, she's here, she's everywhere, always there to give some piece of advice. She's like, yeah, we're trying to kill those monsters already for a while. We shot them with shotgun point blank and still they just kept smiling. So what are you gonna do? How are you gonna catch them? Maybe try to light them on fire, I don't know. And Boyd is basically telling, I don't really care, we just need to do something. We cannot keep playing defense, we need to start playing some offense too. So yeah, when he goes back to the church, he's preparing this board with all of the people's names, like he wants to basically remember, because they lost a lot of people already and they probably forgot some of their names, especially if it was someone who just arrived like a minute ago, a day ago. Yeah, probably they're gonna forget this person. And we have here Father Cutry. And once again, Father Cutry's vision knows something it shouldn't know. Shouldn't be able to know in any situation. It knows what Boyd is thinking. Once again, there is something that tells me that this mystical manifestation of Father Cutry is somehow was created by Boyd himself. Just like Tom the bartender was created by Jade, I think Father Cutry works in the same principle. So yeah, basically like we have some small information about Boyd and his family. We know already that they've been here for a year and a half. This is just an information that I'm gonna put on my board, so it's gonna help me later. And another interesting thing here that also tells me this is all a figment of his imagination. not exactly 100% like we see in movies and TV shows usually, but somehow mystical figment of his imagination. As soon as boy tells, "Would you leave me the fuck alone?" he disappears. There's no more father Katri anymore. So either he's a very good boy and he listens and does everything that he's been told, or once again, this is something that is being controlled by Boyd himself. And we finally see Bacta. Okay, we talked about it in previous 2 episodes. We feel like, what the hell is going on? She wasn't in the ceremony, in the funeral. She wasn't anywhere in the colony house. Finally, we are seeing here. I was a little bit worried. I started to become very worried that this TV show is not going to provide us the answers that we need, but we can see here that she is back and she's once again talking about her grandma, the one that basically had the lullaby, and she sang it to her, and somehow it is alive and basically helps in this place. And once again, this theme of people's history, something that they brought from the outside world and it somehow exists here in FROMMGM, is becoming more and more prevalent. And we're gonna discuss it once again more in details when we're gonna talk about Tabitha. So yeah, Boyd is like, once again, hope, 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 we will win because we are the good guys, yay. And even Ethan was like, dude, I mean, just shut the fuck up already. What hope are you talking about? There is no way outside, there is nothing. And Randall is his usual carving shit, like he likes to carve stuff. Every time there's camera on him, he's carving something from wood, and he can see the cicadas. Now there's an interesting thing about cicadas, and we're gonna discuss it when we're gonna talk about Jade and Christie. Why do I think that the cicadas are actually coming back? But once again, it's a vision. Nobody can see them but Randall. He's been attacked by them until Boyd arrives, and he's like, yeah, what's up, bro? This is me. Let's talk about something. Let's do some switcheroo. I'm gonna sleep here. You're gonna sleep in the sheriff station. And probably this is not what's gonna happen, because we've seen in the trailer that Randall is still in the bus. Maybe they're gonna spend the night together, Boyd and Randall together, I don't know exactly. But I guess as usual, we will see it in a week. And we finished with the 3 smaller storylines, now the 3 bigger ones. Now bigger one not only time-wise, but also they have way more interesting conclusions and events and some clues that we can discuss today. So first of all, as I told you, like, they are arriving to this place, and we can see that those talismans, those mannequins, like those voodoo dolls or whatever you want to call them, they are forming this symbol, you know, like the square, but it's kind of a drunk square. It's like a little bit like this. And once again, Jade is the first to realize that this is very similar to the talismans, the same symbol we have on the talismans, with people, like people combining it, if you can call them people. So Jade, the same way with the talisman, so it's probably there to protect this town. But it's gonna be broken in the end of this episode, so how it's gonna affect this night, I have no idea, but it's obviously gonna affect it somehow, because the name of this episode is Mousetrap. So how does Mousetrap works? I know you have seen Tom and Jerry many times, so you know it. It's like you put small cheese, and then Jerry comes, he steals the cheese, and then Tom comes and he somehow ends up being in the trap. Now obviously this is not what the creators meant here, but it's pretty simple allegory here. You have no food in your place. We have food here. Please come in many forces and many people, and then the trap is gonna close on you. And this is what we are seeing already right now. So yeah, we have the booga 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 movement. You hear, like, when the camera is like suddenly focuses on one of the dolls, and it's like, oh, you know those moments, like, yeah, you should be scared right now, please. And we have the village, and it looks a lot like some Slavic village from, I don't know, 400th century, whatever. And everybody's working, even Dale, but of course Jade is drawing his symbols. Now you can see here a lot of those dolls, once again the same symbol we have seen already. They're creating like the talisman. We have the wheel here. Nothing in particular here that I could like grab my that can grab my focus here, but still Nice image, and Jade is losing it. He's like, would you shut the fuck up? I'm fucking leaving, fuckity fuck. And he's leaving, and he can see those stones, those big boulders with red color on them. So obviously it implies blood. I don't know what else can it be, especially in this TV show, in this reality. So he can see here suddenly new vision. There's a guy with a metal, whatever the hell is that, in his eye. Once again, straight away it reminds me the death of Kelly, you know, the girl from season 2. She was killed with a metal rod to her forehead. This one is in a very similar, not exactly the same, but in very similar fashion, with some metallic stick or whatever being basically killed, probably next to a tree. But he's also chained, okay, he's basically tortured, and probably this was his end. And you can see here we have some talismans here too, like this. This is the mannequin, the voodoo doll figure here, and Jade is coming closer to him until this guy's like, you wanna fight? Let's fight. And they're starting to fight. Let's fight, motherfucker. And suddenly he disappears because Dale comes to the rescue. And I have a new theory for you. Maybe Dale is like a Chip and Dale, and he's there to save the day. Now, I'm obviously kidding, but those stones are very similar to what we have seen in the caves. You know, the whole ritual with the Ankui children laying in the circle of 7 on the stones and like, Ankui, Ankui, please come to my Ankui, please. It's also in circle, but we have seen only 3 of those stones. We haven't seen 7. But once again, nobody asks questions. Like nothing. Okay, we know that Jade is pretty weird. Like he doesn't really talk to anybody until he's like he can feel that he can trust this person. But once again, Dale and Jade, all of them together, just looking at those weird red stones, and they're like, yeah, you know what you're gonna do. Sometimes you see some stones with red color on that. Like, just another day, another Monday for us. Like, stop for a second, ask each other, is it normal? Have you seen those kind of stones already? Maybe we should investigate, maybe we should try to understand and ask other people. Maybe somebody knows about this something. I'm telling you, like, if those people would actually talk to each other, we would be finished in like 2 seasons, maximum. And yeah, as I told you, like Kenny and Christie, they're talking. I kind of enjoyed Kenny more. He's obviously being grumpy, but still, like, Christie is like, can I help you? Can we talk about some stuff? And Kenny is basically telling her, yeah, you can help. Gather some food. This is why we came here, you know, not to talk about your emotional bullshit. And Jade is losing his shit, and he's going kamikaze to the forest. He's like, I'm gonna die, bye everybody. And Christie doesn't want that to happen. She tells him that he's going in the wrong direction until she gets in a bear trap. I think it's a bear trap, but it's kind of rusty and it's weak and it's been here for decades. So this is why Christie's leg is still intact. Like, it's obviously very, very hurt, but you know, like a good bear trap probably would rip this thing apart from her body. So yeah, well, this moment was like, what did Jade do? And Kenny went completely MMA on his ass here. He's like, yeah, leave Christie alone. Dude, he's trying to help. What the hell are you doing? Poor Jade. Anyway, they want to help. They can't really help because they're not strong enough, and they need something that can some lever or something that can basically open up the trap. So obviously it's up to Jade, who hears some crows cawing in the distance. This is interesting because the next scene is basically the tarot card reading when there's another kamikaze crow coming and tries to kill everybody. I don't know if it's related because they're pretty far away from the colony house. But it is related story-wise. They kind of connected those 2 scenes together, so they probably wanted to tell us something. Like, if there's like crows going in the distance, next scene is Tilly and Fatima talking about tarot cards. And then there is the crow who wants to break their bones or something like this. So yeah, as I told you, Jade is breaking the talisman. So a lot of questions here. First of all, yeah, mousetrap, we discussed it. He's breaking the talisman, the trap is closing on those people, they're gonna have a pretty interesting night. But if this really a talisman that's supposed to keep away everybody, like, you fuck off, like, don't come near this village at all, so what is the noise that Kenny and Jim heard in the first night that they have been here? Because they heard somebody being pretty close to the houses and like walking there, not talking, just walking. And who was that then? If those talismans actually work, like the talismans that they put in the house, and they're like creating some kind of a perimeter that you cannot breach if you put in there. So what was this noise? Yeah, once again, I just have to ask this question twice because this bugs me a lot. As I told you, this show is breaking my mind. Anyway, like, you'll never be alone, blah blah blah. It wasn't that emotional for me like in the previous episode. I was crying my eyes out when Boyd and Kenny were talking. This moment felt a little bit like this is already help that's not needed there. Like when Boyd was there for Kenny, he really needed that. And now Kenny is dealing with his loss by doing stuff, like being helpful, being active. This is very good actually technique to, you know, like to fight depression or to power through some bad days. So I don't know exactly, it felt not emotional, didn't work, this moment didn't work for me. And we have another vision. Once again, this guy, after the talisman is broke already, suddenly he is already not chained. So was the talisman keeping the monsters away from this village, or was the talisman keeping this bastard chained to the tree? And now this dude who drinks blood from skulls of I don't know whom, probably not a good sign for anyone who judges his character, but still he's like, yeah, he's drinking the skull, he's holding it like sideways a little bit, and we have this vision of him drinking it. Look at his sleeve here, it's very similar in the color to the stones. Maybe he was actually the one who was killing the sacrifice people, children and kuyu, whatever it was, but same blood, it's obviously blood there. And then he's like, you want some? Would you like some, please? The whole movement here is basically like, this is nice, drink some, please. Now also another interesting thing here is that, you know, after somebody pulls a metal thingy through your eye, you're not gonna have an eye, you're gonna have like a black hole there in the skull. But this dude's, yeah, it's very, like, it's injured, you can see that he's obviously not seeing anything from his eye, and it's kind of like a, you know, like vague, misty, just like we have seen already many times, but still, there is an eye, there is something there, which means maybe this happened before he was chained. I don't know, once again, something to think about. And yeah, Christie is saved and we're moving her to the place. Once again, another setup, but way more detailed one. And we are finished with this storyline and we are moving to Fatima and her pregnancy. Now, as usual, we have here Clara. She's like the big star of this season. In every episode, she's just there. She's like doing something, and right now she's cooking a very mean steak. And she's talking about the cow. They divvied up the rest of the cow this morning. Would you like some? And Fatima is like basically, no, I'm a vegan. And she doesn't really want it, but she's obviously hungry. And she goes to eat some rotten food because, yummy. And of course, who noticed her is Tilly. Who else? I mean, at this point, I kind of feel that the creators are trolling us already and they're adding things just to mess with us. They know we suspect Tilly, so they put her everywhere. I don't know already because there are some signs that there's absolutely nothing with her. But still, you know, we're gonna see some things in this episode that's gonna be like either the creators are trolling us or Tilly is really up to something here. So yeah, Fatima is like, I'm out of here, bitches, you're not gonna catch me, please catch me if you can. And once again Tilly comes and she's like, I'm gonna lick some eggshells. You know, like I read about it today, there are some cravings, I think it's called Pica or something like this, not Pikachu, just Pica. So basically when you have a craving for something that have completely zero nutrition value, sometimes you want to eat some dirt or, you know, like chalk or something like this. And it's very common, okay, it's not very common, but it can be seen usually with kids and pregnant women. And people with disabilities or disorders, so on and so on. So sometimes you want to eat some dirt, you want to smell some dirt or whatever. Like, yeah, that can happen. But I also tried to read about sometimes people want to eat rotten food. Maybe it can be explained scientifically. Maybe we have some kind of precedents in our life. ChatGPT as usual told me, yeah, of course, many times. But further research in Google and Wikipedia didn't really give me any situation where like just pregnant women were craving for rotten food, just rotten food, you know. So yeah, you know, like eggshells and rotten tomatoes, it's not exactly the same. And yeah, she's talking about like, let's find out about your baby. And she obviously doesn't have an ultrasound machine here in this place. But like at this moment, as soon as she went for the tarot card, my reaction was like, no way, no freaking way. Once again, either Taryn Matero is the biggest genius ever created or ever born on this planet, or the creators already trolling us and they're like, yeah, we know the tarot card and we know that you guys are suspicious about Tilly, let's put it together and make you all go completely insane. Yeah, and also like this moment still didn't feel like trolling, it didn't feel like fan service, because there was also a conversation between them and Fatima is basically like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you gonna tell me about my baby? I'm worried sick here and you wanna do a tarot card reading? And yeah, so Fatima's like, you should stop with your cookie Betty Tilly shit. And it's completely not uncalled for, because we remember her like dancing in the rain when she got in this place. She was always like a little bit like, ooh, Cancer, yeah, funny. And she's like, yeah, you really thought I'm gonna be joking right now? And I'm goofing around about something that I know that's super serious for you. Now, I had to ask myself, why did they put that in the script? Because it kind of felt like, once again, the creators are talking to us and they're like, this is serious. This is not just another scene of people just talking to each other and getting to know each other. This is gonna be a serious moment. And it's obviously gonna be a very serious moment, because as soon as they're gonna start opening cards, there's gonna be a crow kamikaze there trying to stop them. So, yeah, probably some very important information in those cards. And Fatima is just like us, telling like, I don't really know you, how should I be able to trust you? Good question, Fatima. We also asked this, like, why we don't know anything about Tilly. So, yeah, but you didn't believe in this stuff. She's like, once again telling her like, blah 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 blah, you couldn't believe about monsters, but now you do, and somehow you having trouble believing in tarot cards. Yeah, you know, like everything is possible here. And she even elaborates on it when she says like, those cards played a pretty magnificent role in my life, especially at a critical juncture. She's gonna talk about her husband, like those cards were given to her by a gal named Gertie. So this is basically Gertrude. This is the name, this is the short form of Gertrude. Now this is a German name, it means spear, maiden of a spear. I kind of once again thought about, you know, like when Martin talked to Boyd and he's told like the monster's just the tip of the spear, but obviously it's a big stretch. I know, I feel like an Olympic gymnast here talking about this. Obviously very big stretch, I don't see any connection here, probably just a name that they invented for the show. And she's telling like she was able to predict her husband's death. She did a reading for me after he passed, and she predicted the cancer. And once again, people are not asking what needs to be asked. She told me about my cancer. Elaborate, please. She told me about this place. Elaborate the fuck, please. What do you mean those cards told you about this place? Tell me now. I need to know. This is not something you just, you know, cards told you about this place, so okay, how's my baby? Ask the question, please, Fatima, ask it. I'm getting pretty angry right now. And yeah, but the signs were all there if I'd known how to read them. She's like, the signs were all there if I know how to read them. Once again, what were the signs? What were the signs, please? Tell me. So let's get back a little bit. I kind of forgot to talk about this moment when Tilly's showing her the cards. We can see the High Priestess. This is a tarot card, like in Terran theory, as far as I remember, this is basically Tabitha. She is the High Priestess. She's also like a symbol of Eve, of many things, like tarot cards have many meanings and many symbolism, but one of them is Eve, and we know that Fatima and Alice were drawn like almost like Adam and Eve in the drawing in their room, and she's like the first one to bring the baby here. There is the theme of Eve here kind of repeating itself. Maybe it's somehow connected. Also, when you do a reading on tarot cards and you have only a question of a yes no, so if your question is my baby okay, and you have a reading of one card, like one card spread, then the High Priestess is no. So is my baby okay? High Priestess? No, it's not okay. I don't know if it's related, or once again I'm just stretching myself here, but once again I'm sharing with you everything. Anyway, we're moving forward and they like starting to do the spread. They started to do the 4-card spread. Once again, I try to check which one of those, but tarot cards are completely limitless and you have like a lot of different 4-card spreads. One of them is basically about health and body, and maybe this is the one that actually Tilly was using here, because is my baby okay? Is it healthy? So probably it was something related to health and body. Anyway, as soon as she starts to open the first card and she actually opens it, the crow is like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm gonna break the window if you're gonna keep doing this. And as soon as she does it for the second time, and they don't really show us what opened up there, because also like after this moment, Tilly was like, chill, I'm in the zone. Once again, nobody reacts normally to a crow trying to kill itself, you know, because they're opening the tarot cards. It's like, maybe we should do it in a different place. Didn't you think about it? Anyway, they open up the second card and the crow busts through the window, and it was like, oh, people screaming, crow screaming, everybody screaming, people cawing, crow is screaming, and even Elgin is like awakes at the end. Like, meanwhile he's sleeping. He's still sleeping, but at some point he wakes up, he's freaked out, he have his shirt with the crow in the yellow goo, and I don't know once again if it's related, but what did the crows wanted to stop? As I told you, in the storyline of Jade and Christie and Kenny, this was right after the moment when Jade hears crows cawing. Suddenly they show us the tarot card reading. So the crows were probably already on their way to the colony house. They're like, dudes, we need to stop this old crazy BA, whatever, because she's gonna open up some cards and we cannot see those cards. Why? Because Fatima cannot know what happens to her baby, because the cards are gonna scare her, because the cards can actually tell us what's happening in this place, or because Tilly is somehow shaping the reality of this place with the cards. What is going on here? Once again, the crows like ready to die just to stop them, but they're not gonna be able to do so probably in the next episode, hopefully. Now, like Fatima and Tilly is gonna be like, let's go to some place without windows and do this. Because crows really don't want us to know what the hell is going on there, so we probably should. Because we want to do something with this place. I hope so, at least. It's gonna be logical. But everybody in this town doesn't really like behaving logically. Anyway, we're moving forward to the biggest storylines today, the one that completely broke my mind. I'm trying to think what to do with it, have no idea. We look at the disco box, we can see the big moon. It looks like a giant boulder, very similar to the same boulder we have seen in season 1 when Jade had his vision of this dude that's been crashed by the boulder. So Henry is sleeping here and he hears glass breaking, and we can see once again a broken glass. I told you, broken glass, broken pieces, people are getting broken. Once again, let's remember the story that Sarah was telling Nathan in season 1 about a girl that's been stuck in a house with broken glass. It kind of once again made me think about this moment, and Tabitha is talking to Henry and she's like, I don't need sleep, I need answers. I know exactly how you feel, Tabitha. I'm the same here. I don't want any sleep, I just want some answers right now. So yeah, Henry's helping her and he's saying something that kind of made me a little bit suspicious about him. He's saying like, so yeah, the boy in white, he lured you into the lighthouse. And Tabitha is like, no, the boy in white didn't lure me. There was like those kids. I want there to save some kids. And he's like, yeah, sure, you'll save some kids. It felt like he knows something more than Tabitha knows. Once again, this was just only one sign, but it kind of caught my attention. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. So yeah, Tabitha is like, yeah, with children, blah, 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 children, and they can hear the bottle tree. And once again, we discover something we have seen in FROMMGM. We are seeing this in the outside. If this is the outside, I'm kind of doubtful already. And he's saying that basically Miranda used to call it a bottle tree. She was like an artist, she was doing some kind of installations, and this was one of her favorites. So they go to check this out. Those bottles are empty. There is no papers with years inside of them, so this was always one of her favorites. So like, and he's like, you have this one from the town you come from? And she's like, yeah, kinda, but it was a little bit different. It had a hole and you could teleport through the hole. And here he's like, yeah, sure, teleport, yeah, right. And he's saying to her like, this is not an original one. The original one is in the park, a couple of stories from here, because like she wanted this to be close to her place. And this is also a tree. The OG tree was actually the place where we took acid together, the LSD medicine, and this is where she started hearing voices. So how the hell does it work? I'm trying to think about scientific explanation, nothing. I'm trying to think about mystical explanation, nothing. But it's something with the work of human brain here. It's got to be, it has to be already, because we are seeing so many signs of it that it's kind of like already something you cannot avoid. And yes, like where this all started, it also feels a little bit like a computer game, like a quest game. You know, you have like step by step, you're getting closer to the answer. If you played some quests, like this is not a popular game right now, style of game, but during my childhood it was very popular. Longest Journey, one of my favorite games. You just go, click, and you talk to somebody, and then somebody tells you you should go to talk to this guy, and you go to talk to him, and then you find some item, and this guy's like, oh, this is the item that I need, so now you should go there. So basically it's like step by step, and it feels like that for Tabitha. Once again, it feels like a game. It's like, yeah, bottle tree, another clue, but this is not the bottle tree that we need to go there. I'm not 100% sure that Henry is on it. I kind of think he's not. But something is happening here. Also, like if we're gonna talk about the ending of this episode, like what was even the point of the whole Tabitha's journey into this place? She barely knew anything, like she barely learned anything. Yeah, we know about Miranda now, yeah, but does it really get us closer to saving these people and like breaking out of this place? Is this really what the boy in white wanted her to discover? Kind of feels, you know, like something you could have just tell her if you wanted it. Anyway, they're like driving, let's go, and suddenly there's Blue playing on the stereo. Now, one of the first things that Henry tells her is basically, it does that sometimes. Now, if you remember, we already heard Blue in the music box in the first season. Just when Jim and Tabitha were fighting, and Tabitha was telling him like, you kind of act like everything is normal and it makes me feel I'm insane, and he wasn't able to apologize. But after they put Blue, he was like, yeah, I'm sorry I made you feel this way. So it kind of fixed the relationship. And as soon as the music box started playing, Boyd's first words were, yeah, it does that sometimes. So yeah, Henry is basically saying that Blue was Miranda's favorite song. And Tabitha is saying that this is their song, her and Jim's. And this kind of freaky, spooky, I have no explanation other than once again going to Terrence's theory that Tabitha is Eloise or Tabitha is Miranda, or they are related somehow. Both of them having this song as their favorite song, having this song being very special to them, or once again something that exists in their mind comes to life in FROMMGM, just like Father Catry, just the lullaby by Bacta's grandmother, or Boyd talking about Brian Kelly, like this soldier he lost in Iraq or Afghanistan, I don't remember, and then like two kids coming to this town, Brian and Kelly, and they're actually a couple. Like those situations are already happening many times, and it's not over, because like when they move forward and Tabitha is feeling a little bit carsick, Henry there is like, yeah, we have some crackers in the compartments there, so open it up, and suddenly she sees the bracelet. You know, the bracelet that Jim lost after the birth of, I don't remember, Julie or Ethan. and it was unique, one of the kind, and she was able to find it in the diner. Probably it was left after Miranda lost it, or maybe after she was killed. One here, there's one that Jim is wearing right now that was found in the diner. There is one that Miranda was wearing a couple of decades ago, and maybe there is even one somewhere else. I don't know, but there's so many bracelets. But the whole the similarities between those stories, when Henry tells this is something that Miranda made for me and Tabitha made the same bracelet for Jim, my mind is breaking already. I don't know how to explain this. Even the explanation of them being related, or even Tabitha being Miranda or being Eloise, not explainable. How would you not recognize her by if it's Henry, if it's really Henry? I don't know exactly how to explain it. Also another thing, after so many time together, they spend the whole day together, they spend the whole night together. Where the hell is my daughter? Didn't you want to ask that? Also, nobody mentions Eloise. Nobody, nothing. And we know she exists. We've seen her on the pictures. We didn't see a family of just, Miranda, Henry, and Victor. There was a girl there with them. We had the room we've seen the room of the kids. There's 2 beds there. So why are you not asking anything about your daughter? And also, we know that Tabitha knows about Eloise. And she also knows that Eloise was chasing Miranda and her body wasn't found by Victor. So, nothing. They're just talking about Miranda and Victor and nothing about Eloise. Once again, another pretty weird behavior by those people. So, yeah, she's Tabitha is completely lost. She's, yeah, pun intended. And she's talking about still, this is basically a game. If I'm gonna come out from the scar, this is gonna restart, I'm gonna be in a hospital, but this was your mistake. But this, once again, doesn't feel like a mistake. It's not one of those moments in movies when oh, we cut you. You shouldn't be able to know who is he, or whatever. Those moments from the movies, so I'm pretty sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. But she's basically telling, this is the same place. I didn't escape, I'm still here. This is just an extension of this fucked up place, and I keep being tortured, and she thinks it's because she lost her baby. So just more of this place. What happens if I get out of this car? I couldn't find any details except of Henry yelling at her, she's, no, you can't do this. Now once again, the most likely interpretation basically is that he's just angry at her, just like he said. You cannot just come to my house and tell me that my kid is alive, tell me everything you cannot know. There's absolutely no way you would be able to know those things and then be you know what, I quit. No, you're gonna go to the bottle tree. This is the most rational explanation here. But once again, it kind of felt a little bit too much. Maybe it was you cannot do this, you cannot fight this place, you have to go along. Maybe this was something there too. I don't know exactly. What did you feel while you watching this? Did you also have this moment, or just me? Anyway, he's yeah, the thing you said, my son is alive, we're gonna drive there and you're not gonna be able to escape. And then there is a car crash and they wake up in the Days of Our Lives TV show, because everybody's looking good. All of the nurses, the policewoman, everybody's a model type. And yep, so you're okay, we were looking for you, you have this box, so you're the woman that basically escaped the hospital, so we finally found you. Now, another interesting thing for me is basically as soon as we have Christie being pretty close to being eliminated, there's a good chance she's not gonna survive this season, we suddenly have this handsome nurse guy coming to this place. The policewoman, who is she gonna replace? Is it Kenny or Boyd? Once again, pretty serious question here. And this guy looks like somebody who is about to die. I'm sorry, but this is a typecast, and those are the guys that been killed in the first 5-10 minutes in every horror show, so whatever. There is a tree in the middle of the road. So yes, I told you, Henry told Tabitha that this place is a couple of towns away. So they were driving probably somewhere in forest area. It's logical that they're coming back through this road, but what's not really logical for me, it's once again, it's the same hospital. It's even the same ambulance machine that we have seen already next to the hospital, the same serial number. We checked this out already, we talked about this already in one of my videos. So this is a little bit non-logical to me, you moved to the other town, you drove to the other town, and somehow you still like doesn't have any other hospital or any other ambulance but the one in particularly the same hospital. I don't know. Anyway, we haven't seen also Tabitha in the trailer in the night with the ambulance accident. So maybe Tabitha is going to escape and take her own road. Maybe she's gonna actually, you know, like do something that we talked about many times. She's like, see you bitches, I'm gonna go jump over this tree and check out what's happening there already. Maybe this is something that should have been done already a couple of times. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I know it's a long video. I'm sorry the background is not lighted up as I usually do. I just moved an apartment and try to fix up some background behind me, and the light is not very good, but I'm working on it, and hopefully on the next videos it's gonna be better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If yes, please, you know, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want. If you want to support this channel financially, you can do it on Patreon, you can do it on YouTube. After you did everything with your finances and you have like an ability to do so, and you have the desire to do so, and you help everybody in your life, even like whatever, any favorite charity, everything, and then you feel like, yeah, this dude who does From another TV show analysis, maybe I want to put some like $2, $5, $10 support for him on Patreon or on YouTube, then and only then consider this. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!